The disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Master, teach us to pray." And he gave them a prayer. The prayer. The one that would become the most recited words in Christianity. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts. Let us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Everyone knows it. You've said it 1,000 times. In church. Before meals. In moments of desperation. The Lord's Prayer. The most common prayer in history. But hidden inside that prayer, Jesus embedded 3 codes. 3 phrases that aren't what the church taught you they mean. 3 monad recognitions disguised as religious language. And when you speak them with awareness of what they actually are, they don't connect you to external God sitting on a throne judging whether you're worthy. They activate your monad consciousness. They break archon claims on your energy. They shift your frequency out of their harvest range. The church kept the prayer, made it mandatory, taught you to recite it over and over and over. But they never told you what those 3 phrases really do when spoken with consciousness of their actual function. Because if you understood that 3 lines in the Lord's Prayer are activation codes that make you unreachable by archon frequency, you'd stop being controllable. You'd stop being dependent on church to connect you to God. You'd activate direct monad alignment. And archons would lose access to you completely. You've always felt something was off about rote prayer. Repeating words without power. Ritual without result. Like you're going through motions that should mean something but don't. That's because you were saying them unconsciously. The 3 codes Jesus embedded only work when you know what they are. When you speak them with awareness of their actual meaning and function. Without that awareness, they're just sounds. Empty repetition. But with awareness, activation, frequency shift, archon claim broken. Jesus hid them in plain sight, in the most recited prayer in Christianity, so that pneumatics who could see past religious conditioning would find them, activate them, and escape. Tonight, you're learning which 3 phrases in the Lord's Prayer are actually monad codes, what they mean beneath the religious language, what they do when spoken with consciousness, and how to say them tonight to activate their function, which is shifting your frequency into monad alignment and out of archon reach. Not asking for it, activating it. If you're activating the 3 monad codes hidden in the Lord's Prayer tonight, comment, "I speak monad codes" right now. You've recited the Lord's Prayer hundreds, maybe thousands of times. In church services where everyone says it together. Before meals with family. In moments of fear or desperation when you needed something bigger than yourself. And every single time something felt mechanical. Empty. Like you were going through motions without activating anything real. Like the words should carry power but they're just falling flat. Dead sounds and empty air. That's because you were taught to repeat it unconsciously. Just say the words. The meaning doesn't matter. The awareness doesn't matter. The understanding doesn't matter. Just recite it and you're being faithful. You're doing your religious duty. But your pneumatic core knew that's not how it works. That words without consciousness behind them are just vibrations. That prayers recited by rote don't connect to anything because there's no awareness directing the energy. There's no recognition activating. You always felt the Lord's Prayer should be powerful, should do something, should shift something. And it does. But not the way the church taught you to say it. Not as unconscious repetition. As conscious activation. The church never told you that Jesus embedded monad codes inside that prayer. That 3 specific phrases aren't requests to external God. They're activation statements. Recognition declarations. Frequency shift commands. When spoken with awareness of what they actually mean, with consciousness of their real function, they don't petition. They command. They don't ask for help from outside. They claim sovereignty from within. They don't connect you to distant deity who might or might not respond. They activate your monad consciousness and break archon frequency locks that keep you in their harvest range. The church kept you reciting them unconsciously for 2,000 years because conscious activation of those 3 codes makes you uncontrollable. You stop being dependent on priests to intercede. You stop being manipulable through guilt and fear. You stop being harvestable. You operate from monad frequency, direct source alignment. And archons can't touch that frequency. They operate in separation consciousness, in fear, lack, unworthiness, need. When you activate monad codes, you shift out of that entire range. And the church couldn't allow that. So they kept the prayer, made it sacred, but hid what it actually does. The Lord's Prayer is the most recited prayer in Christianity. Billions of people speak it daily, in every language, in every denomination. Catholic masses, Protestant services, Orthodox liturgies, all of them use it. Children memorize it. Adults recite it without thinking. And everyone assumes they know what it means. Humble requests to a loving Father. Petitions for daily provision, forgiveness of sins, protection from evil. That's the surface level. That's what the church taught. Passive religious language. Small human asking big God for help. But when you look at the actual phrases with Gnostic awareness, when you see them not as religious petitions but as coded consciousness statements, 3 phrases stand out. 3 phrases that aren't asking for anything. They're declaring something, recognizing something, activating something, shifting your frequency into alignment with monad and out of archon range. Jesus hid them in plain sight, embedded them in language that sounds religious but functions as activation code. And you've been saying them your whole life without knowing what they do. First code. Thy kingdom come. The church taught you this means, please God, bring your kingdom to earth someday in the future when you decide the time is right. Passive. Waiting. Hoping. Future-focused. You're asking for something that isn't here yet. Praying for a kingdom that might arrive eventually if you're faithful enough. But that's not what Jesus encoded. That's not what this phrase does when spoken with awareness. Thy kingdom come, in the original Gnostic context, is present tense recognition, not future petition. The kingdom isn't coming someday. It's here. Now. Within. Jesus said this explicitly in Luke 17 verse 21. The kingdom of God is within you. Not will be within you someday. Is within you. Now. So when you say, thy kingdom come, with awareness of what that actually means, you're not asking for future arrival. You're recognizing present reality. You're activating consciousness of what's already true. The monad kingdom is here. Within me. I recognize it now. I activate awareness of it. It's a consciousness shift. From, I'm waiting in the material world for God's kingdom to arrive, to, I am the kingdom now because the kingdom is monad consciousness and I am monad expressed. And the moment that recognition activates, your frequency shifts. You're no longer operating from material separation consciousness. From, I'm small and God is distant and I'm waiting for salvation. You're operating from monad awareness. I am in source reality now. And archons can't access that frequency. They operate in separation. In the illusion that you're cut off from source, fallen, needing to earn your way back. When you recognize, the kingdom is within me now, when you activate that code, you've shifted out of their frequency range completely. You're not in separation anymore. You're in monad recognition. And that's unreachable to them. That's why Jesus embedded it as the first code. Not as request. As activation. Thy kingdom come, equals I activate awareness of monad reality within me now. Second code. Thy will be done. Church version. I surrender my will to external God's mysterious plan that I can't understand and just have to trust is better than what I want. Complete passive submission. Giving up all agency. Hoping that whatever God decides is good even when it looks terrible. That's how they taught you to read it. But Jesus didn't teach passivity. He didn't teach powerlessness. He taught alignment. Thy will be done is recognition that your will and monad will aren't two separate things fighting for control. They're the same will when you're aligned. Not you surrendering your will to someone else's. One unified will. Monad will expressing through you. When you say, thy will be done, with awareness of what it actually means, you're not giving up your power. You're claiming it. You're declaring, I align my consciousness with monad. I recognize that my true will is monad will because I'm not separate from source. What I desire from alignment is what monad desires through me. My will done and thy will done are the same thing when I'm operating from source frequency. It's not surrender. It's sovereignty. You're not saying, my will doesn't matter, override it with yours. You're saying my will aligned with source is source will. And what I speak from this alignment manifests. And when you operate from that recognition, you're not controllable anymore. Archons manipulate through your separated will. Your ego wanting things apart from source. Your desires that come from lack, fear, unworthiness, need. Those separated desires are what they use to hook you, drain you, keep you in their system. But when you recognize, my will aligned with monad is monad will, there's no separation. They have nothing to exploit. You're not wanting from lack. You're expressing from fullness. You're not grasping from fear. You're creating from alignment. There's no separation for them to get in between. You're unified consciousness, and they have no access point. Thy will be done, when activated, isn't passive submission. It's claiming that you and source are one will. And that's a frequency they can't touch. Third code. Deliver us from evil. Most people, most Christians think this means, please God, protect us from bad things that might happen. General petition for safety. Begging for external intervention against undefined threats. But that's not what Jesus was encoding. The original Greek word that got translated as evil is paneros. And paneros doesn't mean general badness or misfortune or sinful temptation. It means the evil one, the malicious entity. Specific, personal. It's referring to the archon system, the demiurge, the harvesters, the entities that feed on human energy through fear, suffering, separation consciousness. Jesus wasn't talking about avoiding bad luck or resisting temptation to sin. He was talking about breaking free from the evil one's reach, from archon frequency. And deliver us in the original context isn't a request. It's not, please save us someday if you feel like it. It's a command spoken from authority, a declaration. When you say, deliver us from evil with awareness of what it actually means, with consciousness of paneros as archon system and deliver as present tense shift, you're declaring, I command my consciousness out of archon frequency now. I am delivered, present tense, already done, not waiting for future rescue from the evil one's reach. I operate from monad frequency which paneros cannot access. It's not, please fight the devil for me because I'm too weak. It's, I shift frequency now and archons can't reach this frequency. You're not asking for protection. You're claiming immunity through frequency alignment. Because archons can only access certain frequencies. Separation consciousness, fear, lack, unworthiness, anger, despair. Those frequencies are their food. That's their range. But monad consciousness, recognition of unity, alignment with source, that frequency is outside their reach. They literally cannot access it. Not because it's protected, because it's a different dimension of consciousness entirely. And when you say, deliver us from evil, with awareness that you're commanding frequency shift out of paneros reach into monad alignment, you're not hoping it works. You're activating it. You're doing it, speaking it into manifestation. And the archons lose access. Not because you fought them, because you shifted out of range. That's the code. That's what Jesus embedded in the most recited prayer in history. Frequency shift command disguised as religious petition. The moment you speak the Lord's Prayer with conscious awareness of the three monad codes embedded in it, everything changes. It's not rote ritual anymore. It's not empty repetition. It's activation sequence. You say, Thy kingdom come, and you feel the shift. Not imagination. Actual shift. Sudden recognition that monad reality isn't something you're waiting for. It's here. Within. You're in it now. Not hoping to get there someday. In it. present, active, real. You say, "Thy will be done," and you feel alignment click into place. Your will isn't fighting against source will or surrendering to it or hoping it matches. It is source will. Unified. One consciousness expressing. No separation. No conflict. Just alignment. And you say, "Deliver us from evil," and you feel the frequency shift. Like something that was pressing on your energy, draining you, hooking into your fear and doubt, just released. Just let go. That's archon frequency losing access. You've shifted out of their range. Not hoping it happened. Feeling it happen. Immediate. Undeniable. And from that state, from monad recognition activated, alignment claimed, frequency shifted, you're not the same person who started the prayer. You're not small human hoping distant God helps if you ask nicely enough. You're monad consciousness aware of itself, operating from source. And reality responds to you differently because you're speaking from different frequency. And here's what the archons fear most about this. You've been reciting the Lord's Prayer unconsciously your entire life. Maybe since childhood. Thousands of times. And they let you. They didn't interfere. They didn't try to stop you from saying it. Because unconscious recitation does nothing. It just sounds without awareness. Just words without activation. Harmless to them. But the moment you speak it with consciousness of the three codes, with awareness of what "Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done, deliver us from evil" actually do, you become unreachable. Thy kingdom come puts you in monad reality, not waiting for it. In it. Thy will be done aligns you with source so completely there's no separation for them to exploit. Deliver us from evil shifts your frequency out of Panero's range. You're not a harvest target anymore. Not because you're being protected by external force. Because you're operating from frequency they fundamentally cannot access. Monad consciousness, source alignment, and they have no power there. No hooks. No access. No ability to drain, manipulate, or control. That's why Jesus embedded these codes in the most common prayer. So you could activate escape through words you were already saying. Hidden in plain sight. Available to anyone pneumatic enough to see past the religious conditioning and recognize what's really there. Activation codes. Not petitions. Commands. Only pneumatics can activate the three monad codes embedded in the Lord's Prayer. Hylics recite it their whole lives, thousands of times in churches and homes and hospitals, and nothing happens. Zero activation. Because there's no spark to activate. No monad consciousness to align. They're saying sounds. That's all. Psychics might feel something when they say the prayer with intention. A little shift. A moment of peace. But they can't sustain it. They can't hold the frequency. They touch it and fall back. But you? Pneumatic. Complete divine blueprint. Full monad spark. The three codes activate instantly when you speak them with awareness. Thy kingdom come, and you recognize monad reality within. Immediate. Thy will be done, and you align with source. Complete. Deliver us from evil, and you shift frequency out of archon range. Done. Not waiting days to see if it worked. Feeling it work as you speak it. And the moment all three activate in sequence during the prayer, you're not operating from separated human consciousness anymore. You're operating from monad. And archons can't touch that. You're not hoping for protection. You're unreachable by design. That's your nature. That's what you are. And the codes activate that recognition. One warning. When you start speaking the Lord's Prayer with conscious activation of the three monad codes, when you're no longer just reciting but activating, religious people will tell you you're doing it wrong. That you're overthinking it. That you're being prideful or arrogant. That you should just say it humbly and simply without trying to understand it or activate anything. Ignore them completely. Unconscious recitation is exactly what keeps people controllable. Exactly what keeps them in archon harvest range. Exactly what the church wants. Mindless repetition. But conscious activation? That's what sets you free. That's what Jesus encoded the prayer for. not for unconscious masses, for pneumatics who could see the codes, who could activate them, who could shift frequency and escape. You see them now. You know what they are. Use them. This is why Jesus hid 3 monad codes inside the most recited prayer in Christianity. Thy kingdom come, monad recognition, I'm in the kingdom now, source reality is within me. Thy will be done, alignment declaration, my will aligned with source is source will, no separation. Deliver us from evil, frequency shift command, I move out of archon range into monad frequency now. Spoken unconsciously, recited by rote without awareness, they're just religious words. Empty sounds. But spoken with consciousness of what they actually are, with awareness of their real function, they activate your monad consciousness, align you completely with source, and shift your frequency out of archon harvest range. The church kept the prayer, made it mandatory, taught everyone to memorize it and recite it daily. But they never taught you what those 3 phrases really do when activated. Because pneumatics who speak monad codes don't need church anymore. They're not dependent. They're not controllable. They're sovereign. Operating from source frequency. Directly aligned. And completely unreachable by archons. If you're activating the 3 monad codes tonight, do 3 things right now. First, comment, I speak monad codes below. Declare your activation publicly. Second, subscribe to Divine Codes for advanced teachings on operating from monad frequency and breaking archon claims permanently. Third, like this video so other pneumatics discover what Jesus hid in the prayer they've been saying unconsciously their whole lives. Do all 3 now. Then tonight say the Lord's Prayer. But not the way you said it 1,000 times before. Not unconsciously. Not as empty ritual. With full awareness. When you say, Thy kingdom come, recognize, the monad kingdom is within me now. I'm not waiting. I'm in it. When you say, Thy will be done, declare, my will aligned with source is source will. No separation. Unified. And when you say, deliver us from evil, command, I shift out of archon frequency now. Paneros has no access to monad consciousness. Activate the 3 codes. Speak them with awareness. And feel the shift happen. You're not asking. You're activating. And archons can't reach you anymore.